everybody. Welcome to our very spooky episode of the DCOM duo. I'm Kelsey.
I'm BenG.
And we're the DCOM duo.
You're listening to
the DCOM duo.
Ooh. We didn't even coordinate that ghost ooh. It wasn't as depressed of an ooh as Agatha, Grandma, would have appreciated us doing.
She tells us that ghosts are very depressed in this movie.
Which I guess makes sense. They're dead, but so are a lot of the other creatures there.
Welcome, guys, to our second episode.
Yeah, if you stuck around this long, either you're just listening to Halloweentown for the first time, which if this is your first indication from us, you might feel us more negatively than you might as well if this is a movie you're really nostalgic for. I know a lot of people are.
Yeah, this one's really, really popular.
Let's talk about how much we've seen Halloweentown prior to this. Other than, of course, we marathon these movies with our friends the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Other than the DCOM marathon, I have never sat down and watched the full Halloweentown.
You didn't even watch it with us the first time.
That is correct. This was the one movie that I hadn't watched until I watched it the day before we watched our last DCOM.
Mm-hmm. Just so you could say you've seen all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually one of the most recent ones I've watched before starting this podcast.
Yeah. We watched this one pretty early in the marathon, and I was excited to watch it a little because I'm like, oh my gosh, this one's so popular, and I remember liking it as a kid enough. I definitely watched Halloweentown 2 the most, and I caught, if anything, like the end of Halloweentown a lot because it would play right before Halloweentown 2, and I caught like most of Halloweentown, and I liked it enough. I was there when the fourth one came out and I was all ready, and then it was shit, but
I was never a fan of the Halloweentowns. I never really watched them. I think the big thing was I don't remember my sister ever watching them, and she was my big DCOM outlet. I never usually turned Disney Channel on myself unless it was like for Phineas and Ferb, which that was when Phineas and Ferb was playing that era. Halloweentown was already basically being shelved aside for other movies.
Yeah, my sister definitely liked Halloweentown, which would put it on the TV more often than if I was just watching TV.
But as a person who was a kid during the time that I have seen many clips of Halloweentown throughout my kid life. I don't know which clip really matched up to which movie until I really rewatched them all. So there we go. But I would be incorrect to say I have any nostalgia for Halloweentown. It would be a lie to say that I would have nostalgia goggles for any of this review. So
yeah, I have a little bit of nostalgia goggles, but honestly, watching it for the first time in the marathon, I was excited. I'm like, this is gonna be great. And we watched it, and I was really disappointed. I don't know. It was like, I feel like it's just way overhyped for what it actually is.
For being either number one or number two, probably number two. I think we talked about this before. The number two most famous Disney Channel original movie.
It's got to be Halloweentown, right?
It's either Halloweentown or High School Musical.
Number one is High School Musical.
I don't think there's any two on their level. And honestly, I could see an argument for both of them. Maybe you could argue like High School Musical 2 or...
High School Musical, I'm definitively going to say it's the most popular.
I think I would agree on that.
TV show spinoff of it.
I think a Halloweentown could have had one, but it's a seasonal movie is the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically what we're saying here is Halloweentown was big. Historically, maybe this will make more sense when we get to the factos. I'm guessing you have some stuff prepared for that. Of course, I don't know your factos, but Halloweentown is very famous, very big, a big money cow for Disney. They still promote it on Disney Plus. And they're still proud about it.
Yep.
There's nothing inherently wrong with promoting it other than the fact that I don't think it's that good of a movie.
Well, we don't think it's good, but there's going to be a lot of people nostalgic for it that are going to watch it like every year.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
You can promote the movie.
Yeah. All right. You ready for some DCOM Duo Factos?
DCOM Duo Factos, presented by insert company name here. We will shill your service for a very small fee. Please contact us.
Please give us money. All right. So, Halloweentown was released October 17th, 1998.
I was not alive.
I was not alive either, but I was born in December 98, so I was almost ready.
Yeah, I was August 99, so...
I had a heartbeat and a brain.
You were well developed.
Yeah.
So neither of us can say anything about really the hype as if we were there for the movie.
We're not there.
This was like the 4th DCOM.
Oh, I didn't put that down.
Or should we look that up real quick?
Pull up the list and I'll keep going while you look up which DCOM this was.
Just for clarification, we have been going off of the official Wikipedia page, and this official Wikipedia page is a misnomer. There's no such thing, but the Wikipedia page list of Disney Channel original films, and specifically not the Disney Channel premiere films, but Disney Channel original movies.
Yes.
So that starts with Under Wraps. It goes Under Wraps in 97. You Lucky Dog, Brink, then Halloweentown.
So Halloweentown was 4th.
Halloweentown is the 4th.
Nice. Okay.
It says that 3.4 million people watched it on its premiere. It's the first movie on there to have like ratings on it.
That's hype. Wow. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, so just for future reference of like which DCOMs we're counting as DCOMs, it's everything on that list. Everything that says Disney Channel original movie, and it's branded that way with one exception, and that is High School Musical 3.
Yes, we will be including High School Musical 3 in this marathon because we're going to be talking about High School Musical 1, 2, and Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. It would feel weird not to talk about High School Musical 3.
Yeah, it was like theater released, but the fact that it's a sequel to a Disney Channel original franchise, we got to include it.
There are some films people consider DCOMs that are not actually DCOMs, or maybe are. It really is a loose definition in a lot of ways that you can get into a lot of semantics about. But to be clear, the first one we have is Under Wraps. It goes through that list that we talked about on Wikipedia all the way to what's, as of recording, our most recent DCOM, Under Wraps 2.
Yes. That's weird.
Yeah. Which, yeah, it's funny to say that.
It took so many years for them to make a sequel.
There are some films that are even noted on there as notable non-Disney Channel original films, such as 16 Wishes.
Yeah.
That is not one that we'll be watching for this. Maybe
a bonus episode.
Maybe a bonus episode.
It's not included in
also of note, movies like Hannah Montana the movie.
Yeah, that was theater release.
Lizzie McGuire movie.
Theater, I believe.
Those are not included.
Yeah. Those have way more production value.
And we're not here for production value.
No.
The only real exception we're doing is High School Musical 3 because we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
But that's years down the road.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Halloweentown. Directed by Dwayne Dunham. The other DCOMs he has directed. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
13th Year.
Okay.
Ready to Run. Right on Track. And Tiger Cruise.
A lot of early ones.
A lot of boring ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna say this guy's got good DCOM directing. The best one of those, in my opinion, is 13th Year.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And that one isn't necessarily good because it's not boring. That one's still probably kind of boring, but it's boring in a more wholesome way, in my opinion.
Yeah, at least there's like mermaid magic happening in that one.
Interesting, he did not direct any of the Halloweentown sequels?
No, not that I saw.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our cast. So, our main character, Marnie, is played by Kimberly J. Brown. Mm-hmm. She, of course, is in Halloweentown 2 and 3, not 4.
We'll get to that when we talk about Halloweentown 4.
She's also in Quince.
Yay.
Oh, that's a great one.
We don't like that one.
Aggie Cromwell, this is a big name. Debbie Reynolds.
Arguably one of the biggest names that was already a big name.
Oh, she's
before,
huge.
Outside of Disney Channel.
Yeah, I would say that's probably a big reason why the premiere was so big.
I could totally see families in 98 sitting down and being like, oh, Debbie Reynolds is in this? Yeah, I can watch this with my kids.
Yeah, what else is there to do in 1998?
The internet's not really a thing then. I mean, it is, but not really.
Yeah. So Debbie Reynolds, she is Carrie Fisher's mom, which is cool. She was in Singing in the Rain and a lot of other old movies that I don't know, but she was a big star.
Oh, Debbie Reynolds, for people in our era, we don't really know much about her.
But we know
we know she's huge, and I'm not going to sit here and disrespect her because
she's great.
She's definitely a big deal. I remember because I believe Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher died within a few days of each other.
I think so, yeah.
And I remember talking to someone about it, and people are like, they're both huge, and it's just kind of insane to think about Princess Leia from Star Wars not being the main death there, even though, of course, both tragic events, both major deaths, but people are talking about, no, Debbie Reynolds is huge.
Yeah, they're both just like huge stars. So their deaths really impacted a lot of people, I think. All right. Dylan, the little brother, he is played by Joey Zimmerman. He hasn't really done anything else other than the other Halloweentown movies.
Just a little shitter.
Yeah, nothing else that I recognized. Sophie is played by Emily Roski, I believe how it's pronounced. She's done even less. She's in Halloweentown 2 and 3. I don't think she's in the 4th one though.
Does not have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, you can't really find her. I think she's on TikTok, but I didn't watch any of the TikToks. So, the mom, whose name is Gwen, she is played by Judith Hoag. Nothing else that I recognize.
Really? I felt like she was in something, but
she's done other stuff, but nothing that I recognize personally. So I don't know. Other than the Halloweentown movies, Luke, who is the little turd,
the wiener boy.
Wiener boy, that's what they called him. He's played by Philip Van Dyke. Again, nothing else.
So for how big of a movie Halloweentown is, it's really interesting that the stars of it really weren't able to capitalize on its success that
except
much.
For just like Debbie Reynolds was already
Debbie Reynolds was already huge, but I mean, she didn't really do that much after this, I don't think, because...
Old.
And I wouldn't say Halloweentown prompted her success.
Yeah, so no, like really the stars haven't done much else. And then finally we have Kalabar, who is our antagonist.
Secret antagonist. It's a mystery that it's him.
Yeah. Even though don't look at the title of the next one.
Don't look at the title of the second one, but actually, and this is something I want to get into at some point, it's very pedantic, but they spell his name in the opening credits with a C. And in the title of Halloweentown 2, Kalabar spelled with a K.
Yeah.
So either he goes through a name change, but only changes his first letter, or they just rewrote that for some reason.
Well, they keep changing it in the subtitles, too. We like to watch it with subtitles, and I swear they, like, switch back and forth if it's a C or if it's a K.
Is it just him as nice mayor with a C and his evil persona with a K?
He's like, oh, I really need an evil persona name. What can I change?
I don't like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Did I say that right? Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Yeah, I think that's right.
I think that's right.
But I want it even simpler than that. I want Kalabar and Kalabar.
That's like I had an English teacher in high school. His name was Joel Olson. I feel like I can say his name. He's not listening, but hey, shout out to you. You're a cool teacher.
Maybe he'll listen.
He had like an alias that was J.R. Olson, but instead of spelled O-L-S-O-N, it was O-L-S-E-N. And he's like, no one will catch me.
Scandalous.
I feel like that's very similar to what happened here with Kalabar. Anyway, he's played by Robin Thomas. The only other thing that I recognized him in, I saw Horse Sense pop up for other movies, and apparently he plays Barry in Horse Sense.
I don't know who that is.
When we watch Horse Sense, we'll look out for Barry.
Wow. It's actually really wild to me for, again, how big of a pop culture phenomenon Halloweentown really is. I guess it's still a B movie that is just kind of more of a cult classic that was popular in its time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like no one in there other than Debbie Reynolds, even Debbie Reynolds, if we include this, they didn't really do anything after.
Yeah.
Other than more Halloweentown. And that's surprised me. I mean, anytime you get a kid actor, I'm not going to be too surprised with that. And I feel like the kid actors in this movie, I'm just going to jump into this part. I think Kimberly J. Brown is not a good actress.
She did pretty well in this, though.
Yeah?
Yeah. She's good at having an attitude.
But maybe it's just because I feel like I dislike the character and I want to like the character. But also maybe that's just I'm not viewing it from a perspective of a kid who's always questioning authority because that's her role in the movie. I can live with giving her a passing grade on that, but I didn't really like... I don't like the character. Maybe the acting was fine.
I think I agree. I think the character is really annoying, but in terms of the performance of the character, I thought she was doing pretty good.
Maybe that's us watching as an adult where we're just like, this kid's
annoying.
This kid's being a real wiener.
She's a real... So is Dylan. Oh my gosh.
Dylan is written for that express purpose.
Yeah.
And then I felt like I actually really liked Sophie, but entirely because she was cute. And I have a feeling that if that's your only like real thing as an actor.
Yeah.
You're not really going to be able to outgrow that.
Yeah. I thought she did. She was really
She was fine. She did her role well.
Yeah.
I think she was, out of the kids, my favorite, but she had a very minor role and just was sit there and look cute and say a couple things and be the best at magic.
Yeah. So to wrap up our factos, I was just like looking at the Wikipedia a little bit, and they talk about like production, and the like inspiration for this was, you know, one of the writer's kids being like, hey, where do all the creatures go on Halloween? Or like after Halloween. So they started like come up with this concept of Halloweentown, and he named the 3 kids after his own kids, which was cute.
That is cute.
Yeah. And then this was originally going to be a show.
Oh.
And it was going to be really like actually pretty dark and more adult focused. And then it got shut down. So
was the show going to be on Disney Channel, or was that maybe going to be like an ABC show?
I think it was going to be like NBC or something. Or yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm not like really detailed reading this. Oh, it is pitched to NBC. Yeah, that's what I thought. As part of a 6-movie deal. Or maybe it's just going to be a series of movies.
Okay.
I don't know. It had a lot of like reworking and what they're going to do. And then later it was picked up by Disney, and they made it more family friendly.
Gotcha.
And they got like Debbie Reynolds like right away for it, and they're like, holy crap, that's amazing.
We got Debbie Reynolds?
Yeah, they were so stoked about it.
I mean, if you're making a B movie for a cable, even though it's Disney backed, but still a cable TV made for TV movie, and you get Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before we went on air, I think. I don't think there's a bigger name that was a bigger name prior to being in a DCOM. Because, like, obviously people like Zac Efron are huge deals.
Yeah, but he wasn't when he
first started.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anyone that was bigger than Debbie Reynolds.
Probably not. Definitely not by the fourth DCOM.
At least not someone that wasn't already connected to Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you could also say, like, the Jonas Brothers became big. They weren't as big as Debbie Reynolds, I would argue, but some of the other actresses or actors that were big while they were on Disney Channel, I don't think anyone stands to Debbie Reynolds, and that's partially because they move away as Disney Channel original movies go forward from adult focus, so they're going to cast worse adults because that should be less of their focus on casting. Yeah, which makes sense. Yeah.
Our final facto is about the original ending to this movie.
There was a different ending.
Well, a little. It says the initial ending of the film featured Marnie traveling deep into an enchanted forest to place the talisman, and with each step, the character was supposed to grow older as they go deeper into the forest.
Oh, that's kind of a fun concept,
right? And they like started making masks and stuff with like Kimberly J. Brown to make her look older, but then I think they decided maybe it's probably too creepy.
It also doesn't really make as much sense. Honestly, the ending of this movie, we'll get into it there. It's kind of a clever conclusion to a stupid premise that they set up.
Yeah, and also the movie's very like whimsical and fun, and her like aging as she walks into a forest just seems creepy.
That may have been back when they were working on the NBC aspect of it, and it's a little bit darker. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the end of our factos. Are you ready for the Disney Plus subscription?
Give me that Disney Plus subscription. Does it feature any dreamy boyfriends?
Oh, I wish. Does not have any dreamy boyfriends. All right. So, Halloweentown. This comedy adventure follows Marnie and her younger sibling as they follow their estranged grandmother, a good witch, Debbie Reynolds, to her home in Halloweentown, where witches, goblins, vampires, and the like lead very normal lives. On her 13th birthday, Marnie learns that she comes from a witch family and that she, too, is a witch. When she discovers that an evil force is plotting to take over Halloweentown, she must help her mother and grandmother save the day.
I think that's wrong. They said 13th birthday?
On her 13th birthday. Was she born on Halloween?
I don't think so. They never mentioned that.
I think they did mention, like, oh, she just turned 13.
No, they said this is her 13th Halloween. I was making a mental note when we were watching that, because I'm like, it's not her turning 13, this is her 13th Halloween.
Interesting. I wonder if they got it wrong then.
Which, I mean, is a very minor thing that doesn't really impact too much.
It's a big deal that she's 13.
It matters that she's 13 and it's Halloween.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you could easily just say birthday there. And if you're not making a podcast about the DCOM descriptions, you probably don't notice that and say, oh, that's wrong. But I think that's wrong.
Wow. Get together, Disney Plus.
Also, yeah, it's a comedy adventure, but I feel like most movies don't start off by saying, in this comedy adventure.
Also, they like have to name drop Debbie Reynolds, obviously.
Yeah.
I also like that, like, these witches, goblins, vampires, they're very normal lives.
They're
like,
very normal.
They're normal. They're just in their own little town, living their normal little lives. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, nothing else really sticks out to me there. But yeah, that's what the movie's about, basically.
All right, you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. All right, so opening shot with very spooky music going on, and you see the pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Halloweentown and spooky letters, and then they zoom in like all the way to the candle.
Yeah, so it keeps going right into the mouth of this jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm like, I'm too close. Like, back up a little bit.
The cinematographer must have been like, this is going to be such an homage to the ending, because that's what the ending of the movie is.
Think about that.
No,
that's good.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what they were going for there.
Yeah, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Damn. And this is also where I noted that Kalabar was spelled with a C.
Yeah.
What the heck?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. I think, honestly, I'm leaning with the evil persona thing, where when he turns evil, because we only ever see him as good C, Kalabar, and K is a more evil letter than C. I don't know.
I just wish they would spell it out like on a piece of paper.
I wish they would just spend 5 minutes of the movie explaining it to us.
And yeah, Marnie during the climax goes like, "Hey, didn't you spell your name with a C?" And he's like, "No, it's a persona change." And he's like trying to spell it out with like magic and shit, like Voldemort does in Harry Potter. I am now Kalabar with a K. Voldemort
feels so clever for that one. Really, it's stupid. It's obviously retrofitted, but nonetheless.
All right. So then all of a sudden, like, boom, changes to very like happy music. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It happens very fast, but the music changes, and now it's like, doo-doo-doo, it's Halloween. It's very happy.
Everyone loves Halloween, unless you're a part of the Cromwell family.
Yeah, well, we don't know what their last names, it was like written on the character list, but they're not actually the Cromwells because she married.
The mom was a Cromwell, and she married a human man.
Their last name is Piper.
I feel like they never say that,
but that's what it's listed as, like, when you Google it. So.
Gotcha.
But, they say, like, oh, we're Cromwells, because the Cromwell is the line of witches.
Well, the dad's dead now.
Yeah.
And they really don't go into that much at all.
No, they do mention that he's dead.
For all intents and purposes, I'm considering them Cromwell as their last name, even though it's not literal.
That's fair enough. So Sophie is like looking out longingly because she doesn't get to go trick-or-treating. It's established that the mom does not let them go out. And Marnie starts arguing with her mom, with her friends there, asking her to go out to a party.
Common experience for the movie.
Yeah. And Marnie goes, "I'm 13. I'm practically a grown-up."
Classic DCOM argument. You're going to get this. A lot of movies try and emulate the success of Halloweentown, and one of the ways they try and do it is be like, I'm an adult. I'm insert child name here.
She's 13, and she's saying she's an adult. Pisses me off.
Yeah, she's not an adult.
She's a little brat.
I also find it interesting later on in that argument, I believe they talk about how Sophie should be able to go trick-or-treating. I'm going to ignore Dylan for this part of the argument because
Dylan doesn't care. But
Marnie's still at an age where you should go trick-or-treating.
Oh yeah, I went trick-or-treating at 13.
I guess that's an age where you start to feel too cool for it, but like, it's free candy. People should do that. And her friends go trick-or-treating. They say they're going to take some candy for her.
Yeah. Well, she said costume party.
Okay. So maybe they're going to party and then get some candy. A little candy.
Yeah. And then, so during this argument, the friend goes like, yeah, it's kind of weird you don't let her go out. She's definitely like weird enough. She's like so weird. And she like draws ghosts on her notebook.
It's like, oh, this is a Halloween that's perfect for her. She likes weird things.
Yeah, throughout the whole movie, they like call Marnie weird because she's really into Halloween and like monsters.
Which I kind of view just as a classic child rebellion. Yeah. She shows her interest because her mom didn't like that interest.
Yeah. Because she's not allowed to go out and experience Halloween.
Although maybe it's her being a witch and having the deja vu that we never get to see of her seeing the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they fight a bit, and Dylan is like just a total kiss ass to his mom.
It goes from being irritating to being actually kind of funny to just laugh at, back to being irritating, and then back to being funny to laugh at. It goes through the so bad cycle multiple times because legitimately at every possible opportunity throughout this entire movie, character does something and Dylan expresses disapproval.
Yeah. He says in this scene that he'd rather watch a nature documentary than go out for Halloween. He also says, like, oh, why can't we have a more sensible holiday like Arbor Day?
He's reading like a textbook just for fun. He is so overridden as the annoying kid that it's just comical.
Yeah. Also, it's mentioned that the parents met on Halloween, which I like. I like because the mom used to live in Halloweentown. Yeah. So obviously she came back because that's the one time monsters can cross over. So that's like when they met. And she's like, "Oh, I want to be a human now." So I don't know. I thought it was.
It makes sense lore wise, and it is one of those exposition drops that make more sense than some other ones.
All right, so then we see the bus show up, and it's a magical bus that, like, flies, and it's literally flying. And Debbie Reynolds comes. She is the grandmother. Her name is Aggie, or Agatha, but they call her Aggie. She floats down on an umbrella, like Mary Poppins, and then her bag, like, follows her around like a dog.
Yeah, her bag is basically a dog. I thought I remembered more about this bag. The bag's honestly not in it that much.
They do bring it back for the end.
Yeah, but
yeah,
the bag's just like a fun little thing.
Yeah, it's magic. And then they have this whole like cookie fiasco. So Sophie really wants a cookie, and the mom goes, "No cookies before dinner," which I think is reasonable. You sometimes like to eat cookies before dinner.
Yeah, but I'm not the beacon of health that should be followed. If I'm a parent, I'm going to be eating that cookie because I want it, like the mom does.
And then I'm going to be like, and I'm going to tell her kid, "No, you can't have the cookie," and they're going to go, "But Dad taught me the cookie."
I'll be like, tough luck.
Sucks to suck.
Pay the bills.
So mom goes, no cookie. And Sophie goes, "Marty's right. You never let us do anything fun."
And she just sits there going like, "Oh, I really want that cookie.
Wish I had that cookie." So she's like, she turns her back. All of a sudden the cookie starts flying, like floating in the air towards her. And the mom sees it and goes like, "Fuck, not again." And she snatches the cookie. And then Sophie turns around and she like shoves the cookie in her mouth. And Sophie's like, "What the hell? Are you eating a cookie right now? This is going to be you as a parent."
Yeah, no. This would be something that it's like, I'm not going to be fair about that. I can have the cookie, you can't. You're just going to have to deal with it. But I'm not going to do it because I'm trying to hide my kid from being a witch. If I was a parent and my kid was turning into a witch, I'd probably be like, cool, let's work on that. But maybe that's just a personality difference. I
don't get why she had to shove it in her mouth. She could have just like been holding it.
She could have just been holding it. You're right.
But then
I think she was trying to.
Still would have been like, "Why are you holding a cookie?"
I think she was trying to hide the whole fact about it, and that was the gut instinct. It's a funny enough scene. I'm not going to complain about it.
Maybe as a parent, if I got caught holding it, I'd be like, "Okay, let's split one. You magicked the cookie towards you, and I'm trying to make you not see it. Let's just split this cookie." I don't know. Anyway, Aggie shows up. Grandma's here. Whoa, crazy. And she brought them presents in her totally not magic suitcase. And she keeps pulling stuff out, and Dylan's like, "How does it all fit in there?" It's because it's magic.
And Grandma just shows up unannounced, but I feel like...
Oh, she shows up every Halloween.
Is that established?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's the one time she can.
It's the one time she can, but I feel like the kids haven't picked up on that. They never mentioned, like, she only shows up on Halloween.
I'm pretty sure at one point Sophie's like, "Oh, why were you gone for so long? Like, I wish you could visit more."
Yeah.
I think they do say that. So I think she only comes on Halloween. And so, like, they start to do the present thing, and Marnie turns to her mom and goes, "Hey, Mom, can you and Grandma not fight this year?" Like, Marnie's such a little snot.
She's so sassy. And I mean, it's right. The parents, they probably need to be told that.
Yeah.
Genuinely, because they're going to fight.
Yeah. And Sophie goes like, "Oh, Grandma dressed up for Halloween," and she's in her normal clothes, and she's like, "Oh, haha, yeah, yes, I dressed up for Halloween,
I'm totally not a real witch."
Yeah. So she brings them all costumes too.
Can I I feel like this is a decent point to put this as a side note.
What?
They go all into their Halloween costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout this whole movie and throughout a lot of Halloween movies, it's so commonly established, like, the only Halloween costumes that are worn are, like, ghosts, goblins, zombies, standard werewolves, vampires, etc., etc. The standard Halloween creatures. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was different in the late 90s, but through my entire childhood, I remember the vast majority of people doing like some pop culture related
me too.
costume.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't like that movies, which are probably necessary to talk about these Halloween cryptids, they just kind of drop the fact that a lot of people wear non-Halloween themed costumes.
Well, they can't afford the license.
Well, they doesn't have to be like pop culture stuff. They could be just like pro athlete or just other generic non-Halloween stuff, you know?
I don't know. For the purposes of this movie, it really needs to be that they dress up like monsters. Yeah. Because that's like the whole point of like Halloweentown.
Yeah. It's more so a critique at Halloween content in general.
Yeah, I get you. So Grandma brings them all costumes, and for Sophie, it's literally just a sheet with holes in it.
Yep.
To be a ghost.
No mouth hole.
No mouth hole. Well, that's not... You don't usually put a mouth hole for a ghost.
But then they go and eat in these costumes, and she still has it on at the dinner table. So where did she eat? Did she just bring all her food under her costume and eat it?
It would look so dumb if you cut out a mouth hole in your ghost sheet. But, and Marnie goes, I'm a Wiccan.
Yeah.
Oh, that part's funny.
And then Dylan's a big pimple because he has to hate everything.
Yeah, he hates everything. So then they go eat dinner.
They don't show them eating dinner. They just are assumed to have a good time.
Yeah. And also Sophie's doing like the moaning sound, and this is when Aggie goes like, oh, they don't go like, ooh, they kind of like moan because they're depressed.
Yeah. Anytime you've heard anyone moan, it's because they're depressed.
All right. So then the mom says it's time to go to bed. And she turns to Aggie, the grandma, and she goes, hey, can you just like promise me that you're not going to tell them about home? And Aggie goes like, oh, of course not. She goes upstairs and she immediately starts talking about
They had a mini fight there, which is just kind of about, and also at this point, all we really know as the audience is that Sophie probably has some magic powers and Aggie definitely does.
Yep.
But she's like, oh, go tell the kids a story. You're only here for a day every once in a while. You deserve to see your grandkids.
Oh, yeah. She's going to go tell them a story. And she's like, please just don't tell them about our home. And she goes, I promise.
I'm not going to interfere in your kid's life.
Yeah. And then she immediately goes upstairs. She pulls out a book called Halloweentown.
She even waits to pull out the book before she gets them all excited. This is the time when Dylan previously acted. He's too cool to go listen to a bedtime story.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, I'm just checking to see if everyone's thermometers is set at 68 degrees. Oh, what? You're telling a story in here? Let me come in.
Yeah. Oh, he's so annoying. We're
not going to point out every Dylan annoyance, but there's a lot.
There's a lot. Well, okay, here's another one, though. Just put it in there. The Aggie starts talking about the monsters, and Dylan goes, we have some impressionable young children here. Let's make it clear that this is, like, made up.
Which...
What the fuck?
Would make so much more sense from, like, a dialogue standpoint where he would be like, this is made up, right? Instead of, excuse me, we have some impressionable young youths here. Not me, but...
Sophie is who he's talking about.
Well, I think he's also talking about Marnie. Let's be real.
Pretty good thing.
It's Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan, at one point, like in the early beginning, says, "Oh, there's a 50% chance that I would have a normal sister." Which, if you look into the math of first off and the second,
makes sense.
It doesn't make sense to me. I want to know what that math calculation is. Is that what, a 25% chance of each sister being normal? So you would have a 50% chance total, roughly. I don't know. It's dumb.
Anyway, so they pull out the book of Halloweentown and they're like, oh, look at all the monsters. And I thought it was funny when Sophie goes, Dogman. And like, there's a snot monster. Like, I don't know.
Pointing out all these monsters as if this is so exciting and cool.
Yeah.
And then, when it's really just any random old kid's book.
Yeah. And then Sophie goes, look, it's Marnie.
This is genuinely probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
It's literally just... It's a drawing of a girl on a broom. And she has bangs like Marnie. So they're like...
And she's white like Marnie.
And she's white like Marnie. And Marnie goes... She looks at it and she goes, it is me.
Oh my god, it's a splitting representation of me. It is like the most standard 2D art style you can see.
This could be any girl.
This could be Well, any white girl. This is why representation matters.
Any white girl.
If Marnie can see herself here, we got to remember all the impressionable youth, as Dylan would say, that are sitting there waiting for their own representation in books about Halloweentown.
Yeah, just as, any white girl is able to look at a drawing of a white girl and go, that's me, it should be available to all youth of the world.
All right, glad we got that established. And then Dylan rips the book and goes, wait, let me see that. No, this can't be you. And I'm just sitting here going, yeah it can't be, because it's just a drawing.
Yeah, thank you.
And then he goes, she's way too cute.
You were so close to agreeing with us, and then you just made it a dig at your sister, saying she's not cute. Anyway.
I think that's when the mom comes in. Well, actually.
No. The grandma starts being like, Marnie, have you done any magic? This witch looks just like you. Maybe it is you. And then the mom walks in.
Yeah, it sounds really close like Agatha's about to spill the beans.
Well, she was 100% about to. Yeah.
It's like one of those classic get cut off at the wrong moment.
Yeah.
The reason that Agatha's so pushing about this is Marnie's 13th.
This is what they go talk about
Halloween.
In the kitchen. Yeah. So they go and argue in the kitchen, and Aggie starts saying this is Marnie's 13th year. 13th year.
Yeah, I can see why this guy directed the 13th year. He likes the number 13.
This is her last year to train as a witch before her powers go away forever. So apparently, as a witch, if you don't train your powers by 13, you
your 13th Halloween.
Yeah, you become a human. So,
and this is what the mom wants.
The mom wants her to become human. Yeah, and she starts saying we're here to live normal lives. Stop interfering in our lives. And Marnie comes down and she starts overhearing all of this. And then Aggie turns the fried chicken into a real chicken. And so Marnie sees this and she's like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Yeah, this is the most easy description of, this is legitimately magic.
Yeah, so Marnie now knows that her grandma's a witch. She's likely a witch. Her mom was a witch. Yeah. Aggie also says, this isn't the only reason I came home or came here to visit you, not home. I came here to visit you because I need your help. Things are going crazy in Halloweentown. Neighbors are disappearing, and spells are more powerful when you have more than one witch to cast them. Also, they're Cromwells, so they're from a very long line of powerful witches. So Aggie wants Gwen's help to go save Halloweentown, essentially.
I don't know exactly what's wrong, but she knows something's wrong.
So, and Gwen says no. And Aggie mentions that someone's trying to return them to the dark times. So we'll find out what that is later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So basically, they fight, but it ends with Agatha's going to leave and go back on the bus to Halloweentown.
And so Marnie goes to Dylan and she tells him everything.
I want to point this out because I wasn't really thinking about how this is weird, but it is weird to me now. Throughout the entire movie and established already in her kid's life, we know Dylan is the biggest suck up to his mom you can ever get.
Yeah.
And Marnie's planning to go essentially sneak out of the house. I don't know if she was planning to sneak out of the house at this exact moment in time.
Well, she sees Aggie leaving and goes, I gotta go follow her.
Telling Dylan about this is not going to help you in this situation.
That's true.
She got extremely lucky that Dylan decided to follow her instead of just going tell the mom.
Yeah.
And if the mom heard about it, the mom stops the whole movie from happening.
That's true.
So I don't get why Marnie goes, I have to tell Dylan about this. He's going to be sympathetic to all of this.
You're right. She should have just left, but I don't know. She tells Dylan about it, and they sneak out of the house, and Dylan decides to go with because he's like, I'm the man of the house now. I need to protect my sister, essentially. Yeah. So they sneak out, and they somehow get on the back of the bus. I don't know how they open the door. I know there is an escape door in the back, usually of buses.
I'm wondering if this is just a bus that had a door in the back. It's not.
Is the handle usually on the outside?
I don't know.
I thought it was usually on the inside.
I will know. Marnie and Sophie sleep together. Sophie's eventually going to get on this bus.
Yeah. I have no idea how Sophie... First, I have no idea how Marnie and Dylan got on the bus. I really have no idea how Sophie got on the bus.
We see Dylan and Marnie get on the bus. We see Dylan slam the door shut right after him.
Yeah, and they're just hiding.
And they're on the back of the bus.
Yeah. And Marnie decides that they're going to hide from Aggie for a bit because if Aggie sees them, she'll probably make them go back home. So... So they're on the back of the bus, and they see all these monsters on the bus. And I wrote, there's a Jerry Springer joke.
There is a Jerry Springer joke where it's just like, oh man, these people aren't scared of us demons anymore. They're like, I've seen that on Jerry Springer. Which I guess is timely and makes sense with what Jerry Springer was doing at that time.
98, yeah.
But like, it's a joke that's just very dated to me.
So the bus starts flying away, and it starts like, it's kind of like a roller coaster, how it's like all flying around. And these kids are full on screaming in the back of the bus because they're scared because they're on a flying bus. How does Aggie not hear them?
She's hearing loss. I don't know.
That's actually a good point. But like, no one is like, oh, these kids are like screaming. Maybe they don't belong here. Maybe there's some random human kids that snuck on our bus. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Whatever. Now they get to Halloweentown. We see Aggie get off the bus, and she runs into Harriet, her neighbor, and she said she made muffins for like the headless people at the shelter,
like the headless horsemen, basically.
Yeah. And she goes, "It didn't occur to me that they couldn't eat them."
That's probably one of my better written jokes in there. It's like, that's kind of clever with the format.
No,
should mention, this is basically the last time we're in the quote-unquote mortal world.
Oh, it is, except for like one
except for like,
or like 2 scenes of the mom or something.
Yeah. 2 scenes of the mom. I'm gonna skip through what they say right now, where she just hears the TV average say the word magic, and she's like, that's not how magic works.
Yeah, I don't even think I wrote those jokes down because they were so minor.
They're so minor. It's just showing, hey, the mom still exists until, spoiler alert, the mom shows up later.
Yeah.
But those jokes are happening throughout this.
Yeah, they're like, it's just like magic. And she's like, yeah, right. I know what magic is.
It took us like a third of the movie to get there, which
it's about a third
fine.
Of the movie right now. Like, which I kind of like the beginning.
I think the beginning is stronger than the end, mainly because the jokes are more stupid.
Yeah.
And it takes itself too seriously later on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a lot more fun in the beginning.
So yeah, Dylan and Marnie get off the bus.
Yep.
Agatha is like...
she starts going home. She talks to Harriet and she goes home.
Yeah, she doesn't know the kids are there.
Nope. And Sophie's there. This is where they find Sophie.
Yep.
And they're like, Sophie, what are you doing here? And she's like, I saw you leaving. Like, I got on the bus. And they're like, weren't you asleep? And she goes, I was pretending. Duh. And then she also comments that like the pumpkin that's in Town Square looks all like dark and sad. Which is true. Shouldn't it be like lit up and happy? No, it's all like dark. I don't know.
Ooh, I wonder if that's a Chekhov's gun that's going to be redeemed later.
Oh, crazy. And then they run into the mayor of Halloweentown. He like offers this lollipop that he pulled out of his ear to Sophie. And
it's not covered in wax or anything. It's obviously just magic's here. But
no thanks.
And then he just disappears it. And this is where Dylan finally goes like, you know what? Stuff's weird.
Yeah.
And he starts having a little bit of an internal crisis that he ultimately just decides he's hallucinating. He, throughout the entire movie, will be like, magic isn't real immediately after someone does magic. Yeah. That's Dylan's entire character.
Freaking Dylan. So the mayor says, like, oh yeah, I'm a warlock. Interesting that they call them warlocks instead of wizards. I have Harry Potter brain.
I don't know what the difference is.
I don't either.
I feel like witches and warlock is the more accurate, and wizard is like the unisex description, but I might be wrong. But in
Harry Potter, they're called wizards and witches.
You know what? We got Google, and Wizards of Waverly Place. They're both
all
wizards.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna do wizard versus warlock.
I suppose in the Disney Channel world, they go witches, warlocks. That's like Halloweentown universe, and then Wizards Waverly Place universe. That's a gender neutral term.
According to facts.net, which sounds like very trustworthy.
Yeah, for sure.
A warlock is the dark embodiment of magic, while a wizard is seen as good and kind enough to give out advice. Warlocks, on the other hand, are good at deceiving people.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, wizards are chosen as allies because they help people achieve their goals.
Holy shit, this was foreshadowing the whole time? But they call every guy that can do magic a warlock, because later they call Dylan a warlock.
Yeah.
So whatever.
It's unimportant, just curious.
Yeah. So Marnie asked the mayor, like, oh, hey, we're Aggie Cromwell's kids. And he's like, wait, or no, we're her grandkids. And he goes, wait, you're Gwen's kids? Like, obviously he knows Gwen. And he's very excited. He's like, is she here? And they go, oh, no, we're just here with our grandma. So can you like take us to her house? And so he calls Benny, the cab driver.
And knowing what we know about Kalabar being evil, are we thinking he's doing all of this benevolently, or is he doing this to keep like an eye on them? Because he obviously is worried about the fact that Agatha is currently the one person that can really stop him with the scepter.
The talisman.
Yeah. And sending more potential people there, but obviously raising a ruckus could alert everyone to the evil plan. So maybe he's like trying to calculate a plan.
So you think him sending the kids to her house is like...
I think that's him keeping, like, not doing anything yet to raise suspicion while he works out a plan in the future of how that's going to happen. I think he was asking about Gwen being there.
Why? He's just in love with her.
Because he's in love with her, but also B, because Gwen can stop him. And I think he's more worried about that.
Interesting. I never really read into that. Maybe it's just because I'm a hopeless romantic. But, yeah. Anyway, so they're on the cab, and Benny is a skeleton. And he's like, oh, crazy, I'm a skeleton.
Benny is one of the things that I remember most distinctly
I feel like
as a kid.
He's, like, really popular, I feel like.
I feel like, especially this movie, I feel like he did nothing for me. He's just annoying.
And Dylan even calls him an animatronic, which he obviously is.
And they're like, obviously he's not, but like he literally physically is.
But Dylan's like, this isn't real, whatever. As they're driving, Benny is like, exposition. Some kooky things have been happening in Halloweentown. There's some shifty characters around.
It's like, not everyone's nice over here.
Yeah, take Luke, for example.
Take Luke, for example.
They're literally driving right by Luke, and he's like, take that kid Luke, for example. He's a local punk who thinks he's a big shot because he got a nose job and some warts removed.
Yeah, so they really, really hardcore just exposition drop.
Exposition.
It's the funniest moment of Benny's whole time here, in my opinion, purely because it's just clearly they need to write a pre-established note that Luke is a bad guy and not to be trusted.
Yep.
Even though they kind of also do that again later.
Yeah, they tell you time and time again that Luke is a little snot kid. Also, Benny mentions that like a shadow creature made him more handsome. So, ooh.
Evil magic. Is he connected with the evil? Probably. Yeah.
So they arrive to Aggie's place and there's a gate with a lock. And Dylan walks right up to it and goes, well, the gate's locked, better head home. I'm like, me too, Dylan.
Nah, Dylan just so clearly doesn't want to be going against the rules.
Like, well, it's locked, guess we tried.
That one's probably the dumbest one because, like, obviously they're at the right place. Their grandma's in there.
Yeah.
That's safer to get back there than going home a different way.
Well, they can just get back on the bus, I suppose. But yeah, Marnie is like, oh, I'm going to try my powers to unlock the gate. So she starts going like abracadabra, and it's really lame.
Yeah.
She tries to do magic.
A common theme throughout the entire movie is that Sophie is better at magic than Marnie.
Nobody
and you're
cares.
waiting for a payoff. The whole movie of Sophie being like, Marnie being like, Sophie, I'm going to let you do this because you need to do this. And the closest we get is like close-ish to the end. They work together to relight the scepter. Yeah. But it's never Marnie giving Sophie her due of being the actual good witch in the family.
Oh, they are constantly painting Marnie as the hero when the real unsung hero is Sophie.
The sung hero should be Sophie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because she is actually really good at magic and comes in clutch a lot.
She just turns the lock into a frog.
So Marnie and Dylan are like arguing, whatever. And all of a sudden they turn around and the gate's open. And she goes, Sophie, how'd you open it? And Sophie goes, I pushed. Which is funny. And then they start like walking towards the house and they don't hear Sophie go, and I wish the lock would turn into a frog. So they just like don't really realize that she did that.
I don't know if she's hiding the fact that she's doing it.
She's not, but they started walking away. They weren't listening to her. And she's like, and I wish it would turn into a frog. And so she just did it. Like, she's really good.
Kind of accepting the fact that she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So inside the house, Aggie's doing some spell stuff, and you pointed out that the microwave says bubble toilet trouble.
Before this, I wanted to get they make a little bit of a joke about it later. they got instant witch brew.
Yeah, that's what she's making right now.
Yeah, which is a funny joke. And like is a good joke in that, but makes me wonder about the economics of the situation. How do they like have a big enough customer base to make instant witches brew?
There's probably a decent amount of witches.
I think it's Cromwells are the only ones.
No, because in Return to Halloweentown, there's like a whole university.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah, which they're not all witches there, but there's enough witches. Like, they're definitely not the only ones.
All right, so she pours in the box of instant witches brew.
Yep, she hits a bubble toil trouble on the microwave.
Which it is a good joke. It's a good
funny.
Visual joke, and I did not catch it till now. My third time watching.
Yeah, so the kids show up, and Aggie's like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing here?" And they're like, "We snuck in. I heard you saying that we're like witches from the kitchen." And Aggie's like, "Oh, I thought I heard someone listening." So I feel like she was very deliberately saying, "We're witches. Marnie is a witch," and knowing that Marnie was listening.
She is kind of an evil grandmother in terms of not allowing her daughter to parent her kids.
Oh, she has her own agenda for sure.
And she was absolutely manipulating them to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But that's here nor there.
Whatever. She's magic. So Aggie's like, "Oh, I should probably send you home." And Marnie's like, "No, we want to help you. We want to help you fight the bad thing." And so she goes, "Well, I suppose as long as I return you before midnight Halloween." And Marnie's like, "That's only 2 hours from now." And Aggie goes, "Oh, no. Halloweentown has a different time vortex thing.
Time works differently.
Time works different here. So 2 hours in the human world is 2 days in Halloweentown, or 2 weeks if you're on vacation. What the fuck does that mean?"
I don't know. I think it's just trying to Jeremy Bearimy the whole situation. Yeah. Time works differently. It's trying to say, like, yes, they can only cross over on Halloween, but let's not worry about that because they're going to spend time here and we want to spend days in here. So we're just going to put it on the side and really kind of lampshade the whole issue of...
They don't even spend the 2 days.
No.
Which they make it sound like the movie's going to be 2 days, but it's literally just the 1 day.
Because it could be longer. They don't get back like right before midnight. There's no worries about that.
Yeah, that's true. They never have the, "Oh my god, it's almost midnight."
Which,
like, that's
when
never
you're watching the movie, you're expecting that to kind of be the thing of how are we going to get back to the mortal world in time?
Yeah, no, that's never.
No, never
in question. But like, okay, so Aggie is gone the whole year and comes back to visit on Halloween. That's so many more years for her.
Yeah.
Because 2 hours is 2 days.
She's hundreds of years old.
She's gone for years before she sees her grandkid.
We know she's at least 2 centuries old. We get told that.
Yeah, because time works different. She goes hundreds of years before seeing her grandkids again. Like, what the fuck is going on? Do they age differently? Is Gwen aging differently?
I think because she's in the human world, Gwen is now aging like a human.
Okay.
That's my interpretation of it. Whereas you age based on the realm that you're in.
Okay. I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird. It's one of the things where we can look into the world building deep, but the deeper we look, it's going to crack more. So It's a DCOM. Let's not worry about it too much.
Yeah. Okay, so Aggie's like, "Okay, I'm making the spell to fight the evil guy." So she's like, "Oh, the perfect thing to do this." And Sophie goes, "Are you cooking chowder, Grandma? I like chowder."
And that's just Sophie being cute.
She's so cute. So I called it the ball wand thing, but we learned later this is a talisman. So she like makes her little instant brew. She fills up the talisman, and then she starts.
First off, I want to point this. I've never seen. Maybe I just don't know enough about witch media because I know witches boil over a pot to do their spells.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them pouring it into something.
Well, this is the magic thing that they need to stop the evil, so I don't know. I'm not questioning it. And she starts saying some magic words, and she literally tells Marnie, like, "I'm just gonna like put this in and see if it lights up, and that's how I'm gonna save the day." So she like starts sprinkling like glitter and shit on it.
Note that they sprinkle glitter. We'll get back to this later.
Yeah, well, they don't do it later.
That's what I'm saying.
It's so annoying. Okay, whatever. So she starts sprinkling glitter, and she's chanting some words, and it almost lights up, but it doesn't. And she goes, "Well, that's what I get for using instant. We gotta make this by scratch." And she she looks in her little spell book and she's like, all right, we need the fang of a vampire, the hair of a werewolf, and the sweat of a ghost.
Just 3 ingredients to make a brew.
Yeah, that's all you need.
It's fine.
Yeah. And she also says that they can get these ingredients in town, but while they're in town, they shouldn't reveal why they're getting the ingredients because you don't know who to trust.
And that's kind of the implication of, hey, one of these characters we meet are probably going to be the evil guy.
Yeah.
Which
also
would be more surprising if we met more characters.
Yeah. Also, it's setting up that, like, once they do go out to get the ingredients, it's going to be like a wacky adventure that we can't just ask for it. We got to have a sneaky way of getting the ingredients. So, this is when they have, like, the literally, like, 1 minute scene of the mom, you know, watching her television and eating candy, and then she goes to check on her kids, and her kids are gone. And she's like, mother, like, oh, my mother kidnapped my children. That sucks. Which she didn't, but...
Could say they got kidnapped.
She's certainly not bringing them home.
Yeah.
Okay, so cut back to Halloweentown. That scene was so short of the mom. Like, we just need to establish that the mom is still there, and now she notices that her kids are gone. So here's where they have some Halloweentown lore. This is where we get, like, the history of Halloweentown. So... Aggie starts explaining that everyone in the real world likes to mimic Halloweentown customs. Mm-hmm. There was a time back in, like, the dark times when monsters and humans lived together. And then the humans started to try and destroy the monsters. And in return, the monsters started to make the humans miserable. And this made them evil.
Yes.
So they didn't like who they were becoming when they started tormenting the humans.
It was a selfless act.
Yeah, they left. They left to live in their own world. Probably not selfless, but it helps everybody. Like, let's just keep it separate, and then every Halloween they can come back and visit.
Yeah.
So that's your exposition for you.
And yeah, basically that's the entire explanation of that. You can come and visit on Halloween.
Yep.
That's the one time the gates open.
Which is like 2 days in Halloween time. No, more than that. It's like a whole month, because 2 hours is 2 days. There's 24 hours in a day.
Did they establish that in hours a day?
Well, they said 2 hours is 2 days, so 1 hour is a day. So it's like 24 days.
Yeah. They
can go and visit. It's like a whole month. That's fun.
And there's, people just go have fun in the mortal world.
Yeah, and they can, like, get away with it because it's Halloween and they look like they're in costume when they're not. So, I don't know. It's a pretty fun concept. So this is when they're, like, walking down the street, and all of a sudden you see this, like, kind of ugly, warty woman, and she was like, "Rah!" And Aggie goes, "Oh, Harriet." Like, she just knew how to, like, happen so fast. I thought it was funny.
Is this when they're outside the movie theater?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, we get wonderful movies here, such as It's a Wonderful Death." And that's the only movie she lists.
That's the only one she mentions. And then it says, like, closed forever on the movie theater. And then, yeah.
So, big talk from the grandma saying, yeah, we love movies here. And then the only movie theater in town is closed.
On the, like, fandom wiki for Halloweentown, I thought this was really funny. It was like, oh, did you catch this? Aggie says, we used to have really good movies here. But then she acts surprised when the movie theater is closed. So either she already knew the movie theater was closed, or she was just saying that they used to have good movies and now the movies suck.
Logic.
Like, oh, we caught you there, Halloweentown. Like, no, this is
There's so many other plot holes that I think are bigger. That's funny to me. That's the one they'll sing.
That's the one they're like, oh, we got you now. Anyway, so Aggie sees Harriet. She's like, oh, Harriet. Oh no. She goes to Kalabar, who's the mayor. Mayor Kalabar.
Suspect
number one. And she goes to him and says, hey, I just saw Harriet. She's changed. She's different. I'm worried she's going to disappear just like all the other people have disappeared. And he goes, you're right, Aggie. This is a very serious issue. But what I want you to do is just leave it alone right now. And we'll handle it. Give me 2 days.
This is where, like, the 2 days
really because starts that's to the end of like Halloween. So I made a note of that, like, oh, he's saying 2 days because that's the end of Halloween. But it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
It never matters.
I was completely with you because when I'm watching that, I'm like, he says 2 days. We got pre-established that 2 days is probably to the end of Halloween. Like, This is a timeline, especially when we already know he's evil because we've seen it before. You're like, this is all adding up, but it actually does not matter.
But it doesn't matter. Everything happens in this one day. Whatever. So then they do all the broomstick shit.
Okay, well, yeah, we gotta describe the broomstick shit.
Yeah. So Marnie sees that they're selling brooms, and she asks Aggie for one. She goes, "Please, Grandma, please, can I have a broomstick?" And Aggie goes, "Well, sure. This is a rite of passage for a witch your age, so let's get you a broomstick." And then all of a sudden Luke comes in, and he goes, "Huh, getting a broomstick, huh? Meh, I'm big cheese around here. You want to go out for ice cream?"
Yeah, he really wants to get on a date. This is plot relevant later on, but...
Yeah, he goes, "I'm big cheese around here," and then Marty calls him Stinky.
Which, just clever wordplay enough, I guess, but it's kind of just a dumb theme. Yeah.
And then Luke goes, he's like, if you'd be smart, you'd be nicer to me. I have really powerful friends here.
Yeah.
So he's just being a little shithead.
Yeah, classic Luke behavior. As the shopkeeper says, do you have the quote written down?
Yep. The salesman goes, "Oh, that's Luke. He's turned into such a wiener."
They're so clear about trying to tell you that Luke's a bad guy.
Luke is such a wiener.
They don't trust the audience to just see his behavior as bad, and they have to verbally tell you multiple times that he is bad.
Yep. So they pick out a broom. And I wrote, right after the wiener quote, I wrote, "This is halfway through the movie." It was like exactly halfway through the movie. What has happened? They've
gone to Halloweentown.
Wow.
That's it.
And they're like building up to the final conflict, but
there's seeds of plot, but this is really where I think both of us have a large issue with the problem. The big joy about this movie and what I think people are nostalgic for is the world building.
Yeah.
And I just can't buy into it too much. I think part of it's technology has improved so much since 98 that the graphical effects and the makeup and like set design of this 98 B movie made for TV doesn't hold up to other movies that we can watch.
Well, I don't even like it as much as like Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Maybe, I mean, they did have special effects in that.
Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire was less ambitious in how much of its fantasy world that it's trying to do. And I think a lot of people, when they're kids, will view this and can view it like... I think if you view this at a younger age, you're more willing to be an impressionable young youth, as Dylan would say.
Yep.
You are able to see Halloweentown is more believable. These animatronics is more real. These makeup designs that are clearly just humans in costume as monsters. Mm-hmm. And that's more cool and interesting to think about.
Yeah.
I think since we're viewing this from an adult lens, we're probably not giving the movie credit where it succeeded at its time in getting people to believe in this as a real place.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to give it credit because we're looking at it from today's view.
Yeah. And we like bad movies.
We like bad movies. Movies that focus on world building when the world building doesn't age as well is harder for me.
For sure. Yeah. So anyway, they pick out a broomstick and he goes like, "Should I wrap it up for you?" And Aggie goes, "No, we'll fly it out." And then they fly around on the broomstick.
All right, before we get to that, I want to point this out because we had a discussion about it during the movie. And so what is the financial situation in Halloweentown?
Okay, because when they took the cab ride, Marnie goes, "Do you take dollars?" And he goes, "Nah, just like catch me in the next life or whatever."
Which, that could be just a favor from the mayor type of thing.
But then when they get the broomstick, we don't see a money exchange happening.
We don't see a single money exchange at all throughout all of Halloweentown.
Nope.
And they acquire, the broomstick, and I can't think if they acquire anything else from a payment system.
No, I don't think so.
We see like a hair salon, and I don't think they have a cash register set up. Maybe they do. I didn't pay attention well enough.
Yeah, so our question is, do they have some kind of currency, or is everyone just kind of doing their own thing?
Is it just a socialistic society where everyone provides services because they do? It might be that.
It's like that.
And honestly, cool for them.
Cool for them.
A system that they allow us to question because they're like, "Hey, can we pay the cab driver?" And they say no, and then they never answer it definitively.
Yeah. So, I don't know. So they fly around on the broomstick, and Aggie starts describing how magic works. She goes, "Magic is when you want something and you let yourself have it."
This is an important quote.
Yeah.
That's all these spells that people do don't matter, actually. All you have to do is want something and you get it.
And that's, I think, why Sophie is so good at it.
She just wants. She
just
has
wants
no internal thing locking her out.
Yeah. She just wants it, and it starts to happen. That's why she's good at magic.
That's why she got the cookie float to her.
And so they're flying around, and we're like, where are the other kids? Because she says we'll fly it out. That means they're going somewhere, but then they just fly back to the broom shop, and we're like, oh, there's the kids.
Yeah. We're like, it's kind of reckless to abandon these kids when you know there's an evil force going around.
That is very reckless. Aggie's not actually a very good grandma.
No.
In terms of, like, responsibility.
No. She's brought them into a dangerous situation.
She's fun. So they land the broomstick, and all of a sudden, there's the mom. She's showed up. So she's really mad.
She's angry.
Instantly, Dylan is like, oh, Mom, I didn't mean to come. They hypnotized me. You little liar, little shithead, Dylan.
Which, like, he didn't want to come. I can understand that. But, like...
He chose to come with Marty.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
He was not hypnotized. He's a liar.
He is such a suck-up.
Yeah. So the mom's like, come on, we're going home. And Marty goes, nope, I'm here to help Aggie because I'm apparently the only other Cromwell witch because you are choosing not to be. And I'm staying. And the mom goes, no, you are grounded. And all of a sudden that Marty's like, oh, fuck.
Well,
now I'm grounded. I have to go.
Now that I'm grounded, I can no longer run away from home.
She goes, you're grounded. And that's when Marty goes with her.
Yeah.
So it's like, shit, now I'm grounded.
It doesn't really make sense when you think of the dialogue before it.
15-year-old, it's like, oh, shit, she's really mad at me. So that's when she starts to go. And then they go to the bus, and Marty's, like, throwing a fit. And there's, like, this two-headed guy that runs the bus schedule who's really annoying.
It's supposed to be funny, but it's just annoying.
It's not funny. It's annoying. And the mom's trying to get their attention, and she's like, when's the next bus coming? And
after, like, 3 minutes, we finally learn, oh, the bus is, like, broken down. Won't be for hours.
The next one's for hours from now. Also, like, during this, Marty's going, man, this is so lame. I'm going to run away and join a bike gang. A motorcycle gang.
Which, if you're going to run away in Halloweentown.
Town, whatever. So they find out the bus is going to be, like, delayed. And Marty goes, like, ha, ha. Sucks to suck. And then Dylan
Marty's like, foiled. I knew it.
I knew it. And then Dylan goes, oh, hey, the mayor was real nice. Let's go ask him about the bus schedule. And Marty's like, shut up, Dylan.
I want to point out, basically, all the times that we complain about Dylan saying something, it should be known that A, all the characters are annoyed with Dylan, and B, he gets elbowed for, like, every single one of these.
Marty is constantly elbowing him.
And he just goes, ow.
Ow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go see the mayor. And this is when Kalabar sees Gwen, and they recognize each other. And she doesn't know that he's the mayor. And so it's like, oh my gosh, what? You're the mayor here? And he's like, yeah, oh my God, Gwen, it's been so long. Let's go out on a date. And she's like, oh, no, I'm going home.
I came to you because you're the mayor and I want to leave.
Yeah, I want to leave. And he goes, okay, I'll help you get home. But first, let me, like, go take care of this emergency because his secretary comes in. And she's like the tomato that you push pins into when you're, like, sewing and stuff. I don't know why this is a mythical creature in Halloweentown.
That's a good point. That's like one of the costumes that I'm like, people would dress up in Halloween that are kind of just out there and weird, but like not Halloween creature related.
And
sewing
she's really
tomato.
Annoying. She's really annoying.
A lot of characters are annoying, and she's one of them.
Yeah. So she comes in and she's like, Mayor Kalabar, there's something you need to do. I don't remember what it was. So
it was probably go kill the grandma.
Hey, Kalabar, you have to go kill the grandma now. He's
because
like, oh, okay.
During this time, that wiener, Luke
talks to Aggie and says, hey, he wants to meet you. And Aggie goes, oh, does he?
Oh, bet.
And Luke's like, yeah, he's going to reveal himself. And so they go. But also before this, Dylan's like, what's going on here between, like, Kalabar and Gwen? And Marty goes, obviously they used to date. And then she turns to her mom and she goes, if you marry him, I'm not calling him dad.
Such a rebellious nature thing to just say immediately.
Immediately, like, it's so obvious that he's into Gwen. And Marty immediately is like, I'm not calling him dad. Like, they are so far from that moment. They're not going to stay here. It's, oh my gosh.
It's a Marty moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Each kid here is pretty, like, 1 or 2 dimensional.
Yeah. And Marnie does not get along with her mom.
Marnie wants to fight.
Yeah, she wants to fight constantly.
Throwing hands.
So Marnie's like continuously trying to convince her mom to stay. And then, okay, she gets confirmation from her mom that she is a witch. And she goes like, I knew it. I'm a witch. What have they been doing this whole time if Marnie doesn't know that she's a witch right now?
Yeah, like, no, you're completely right about that. And obviously she hasn't seen her magic really work at all.
No, she hasn't seen her own magic work.
Which, that's the part of it maybe that she's worried about. But, like, her mom saying that won't prove that anymore.
Yeah, so her mom...
Her grandma said it.
Yeah, her grandma says that she's a witch. She basically gets this confirmation that she has shown magical qualities in the past. And her mom confirmed it. And she goes, yes, I'm a witch. Like, this is so dumb. We already knew this, but whatever. Then Sophie notices that grandma is leaving with the wiener dude. She literally says the wiener dude.
Yep.
And so Marnie starts to go after them because she's like, oh no, that kid's shifty, as I've heard many times. I have to go save my grandma. So they're like, mom's like, fuck, okay, fine, let's go. So now they're in the theater. They're in the old theater that is shut down forever. That used to show good movies.
Like It's a Wonderful Death.
Like It's a Wonderful Death, yeah.
Now it doesn't.
No, it's closed forever. So Luke and Aggie go into the old theater, and it's like very spooky. There's like spider webs everywhere. You can tell it's not good things are happening here. There's a bunch of people sitting down. They're like petrified. This is where all of the neighbors have been disappearing to. Don't know why no one has like checked the seer at all, but this is where they've been disappearing to. I guess if you put a sign on the theater that says closed forever, like no one's gonna check. What about the workers there? They didn't check. Okay, maybe they were the first ones to get petrified. So in the back of the theater, there's like a vortex thing, and in comes flying Mr. Spooky Man, right? And he asks Aggie for the talisman.
Yeah, it's really like, just give me the thing, and she's like, never.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm evil. Give me the talisman, and she goes, no. And he like, you foolish witch. And their dialogue is just like so dramatic and dumb. And Luke the whole time is going, yeah, he's evil.
And then finally he goes, shut up, Luke.
Yeah.
And that is really the turning point on Luke as a character, from going from Wiener Boy to...
Not really, but...
Well, I feel like that, if he doesn't get insulted there, even though like everything else that happens, he's like, you know what, I'm still on Team Evil.
Well, okay. Evil guy goes, give me the talisman. And Aggie goes, never. And then he starts shooting his like magic balls of lightning. Yeah. And she just kind of like sidestep dodges them. And she goes, haha, Cromwell witches are too fast.
I described this when we were watching. It looks like you're playing Kinect on Xbox. And you're playing and you're like, it says, dodge this dodgeball, and you move your body as if you want to dodge that dodgeball. Yeah. That's what the stage direction looks like.
She's just kind of hopping around. She goes, I'm too quick for you. Cromwell witches are too quick. And then insert, like, Gwen and the kids. And Gwen uses a magic spell on Luke, and it, like, puts a bunch of flowers on him. And that wasn't what she wanted, but whatever. And Marty's like, whoa, fuck yeah, Mom's using magic now. Gwen like comes up and pushes Aggie out of the way, and she gets hit by the petrifying spell. And she becomes petrified. And Aggie's like, fuck no, my daughter. And then she also gets hit by the petrifying spell. So the
two adults are now hit and petrified.
So Dylan goes, we gotta go.
Which, yeah. Smart.
So,
Marty's like, we gotta save them, and Dylan, smartest thing he says the whole time is like, we gotta save ourselves before we can save them.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here right now. So they open the door, and Spooky Man cannot handle the light,
which is very convenient.
Very, very convenient. And as they are leaving, it cuts back to Aggie. She is not fully petrified yet, and she goes like, essentially like, don't worry, we're okay, we're only frozen. Go get the talisman and save us.
Oh my god, we are not dead.
We're not dead.
Everyone here is not currently dead.
Yeah.
We are alive, but you have to save us.
Yeah, I think it was probably just too scary to see them like dead, like in these chairs, frozen. So they had to give a little like, "Don't worry, we'll be okay."
Yeah,
it's pretty dumb. Okay, so they go out, and I think Dylan's like, "Oh, we have to keep going. We have to keep running because he's chasing us." And Marty goes, "No, didn't you see the light?"
Marty's very confident about this.
Yeah. So
which
she goes, all right.
But like she's too confident in the situation.
She's like, we have to go get the talisman, we have to go get the ingredients and do the spell. So they immediately start doing this. They go to the hair salon to get the hair from the werewolf.
Yes. This is probably the part of the movie where the plot moves the quickest, and I was shocked about it.
And I remembered this part.
And I didn't.
It happened so fast. I remembered it happening slowly. Like, I thought this was a big part of the movie, but it happened so fast.
Within 5 minutes, they're going to have all 3 of the ingredients that we heard about at, like, the 40-minute mark.
Yeah.
And we're now at, like, the 70-minute mark, and by minute mark 75, this is just rough estimates on my brain.
Yeah.
Like, the 75-minute mark, they're going to have everything.
Yeah. So it's basically just like a kooky, let's go out and get the ingredients in a silly way montage, kind of. So they start out at the hair salon. The werewolf is the hairdresser. And so Marty starts asking for, like, a part-time job. And he's like, no, leave me alone. And then she, like, grabs the blow dryer and it starts shooting out fire.
It's literal flame.
Literal fire. And he starts going like, oh, stop it. And while this is happening, Dylan grabs, like, a razor and he fully shaves a chunk out of the back of the werewolf's head.
Desperate times,
I guess. But why didn't he just grab a scissors? The werewolf's hair was long enough that you could just cut off a piece.
They could have just asked for one. I know they said earlier on, oh, don't be suspicious about why you're doing this, but just say, like, hey, we're making a witch's brew and we need a werewolf hair. Can we have some?
You don't know who to trust. What if the evil man has inside people?
That's fair enough.
Yeah. So they just, like, fully shave a piece of the back of his head. And then the werewolf's like, no, what the hell did you do? And they run out. And then he goes, wait a minute, this could be a good look for me. Even though from the front it looks exactly the same. Dude, look at the back. It looks terrible. So, whatever. Fuck Dylan for doing that.
Yeah, he's completely... The hairdresser's just sitting there like, oh, this could be a good look for me. He doesn't look at the back of his hair where it all got shaved off. It's otherwise just his normal haircut.
Yeah, it's stupid. Okay, so then they go to the gym. And Dylan has a good point here. He goes, ghosts are dead. Why would they worry about fitness?
Also, they show, like, the gym class and they're, like, doing Zumba or whatever. I thought
that part was dumb.
And it's weird. There's so much costuming and design for, like, 10 seconds.
They just really wanted to show it off.
They don't go there because they go to a sweat box.
Yeah. And so the ghost is just conveniently there. Don't know how they're getting so fucking lucky, but they are. And Marty tells Dylan, like, hey, you need to go distract him so that I can get the sweat without him noticing. And then Marty just literally walks right past.
It's hard to describe without showing it visually. She just goes do.
Stands right next to him, and he fully sees her. We rewound it to see, like, oh, maybe his eyes was closed. No, he fully looks at Marty, stand next to him, and goes, okay.
He goes, that's weird, and then stops and keeps, like, staying in his box. Then she turns the heat up, and this is where Dylan has to distract, probably to distract and make him not feel like it's so hot, so he sweats.
I don't know.
Otherwise, why do you need to really distract him?
I don't know. Dumb. This part is so dumb.
It's the dumbest. It's the dumbest of the parts.
Yeah, Dylan starts just saying useless facts.
The facts are, I believe, that sea monkeys are not shrimp. Or are they shrimp? One of the two. I don't care. He didn't distract me.
And then he says there's no name for the back of the knee.
Which, sure, these are just dumb facts. Okay.
Yeah, and the ghost's going, you don't say. And then he starts going like, it's getting pretty hot in here.
And then Sophie just puts on a ghost costume and pretends to be a ghost. And the ghost's like, that's kind of not cool.
Yeah, that's offensive to me. Can you stop doing that?
And that's the whole
humor. That's the whole thing. She starts going, ooh.
And Marty grabs a little bottle and grabs some sweat from his nose.
Literally right in front of him. And so what was the point of the distraction when she was going to be blatantly obvious about getting his sweat?
I think it was they needed him in there long enough to sweat.
Maybe, but he starts yelling, dumb. Hey, help me, attendant, help me.
We're spending too much time on this scene because it's dumb.
Okay, well then they cut to the dentist, and the dentist's like, oh, I need to pull your fang out. It's a vampire. I need to pull your fang out, and then he does, and then he, like, puts it in the tray, gives it to the assistant. Oh, the assistant was Marty in disguise.
That scene was, like, 20 seconds.
Literally, that's the only explanation we get. How did she sneak into this dentist? How did she, get rid of the dentist assistant and say, I'm going to be the dentist assistant and take the tooth? What the fuck? They don't explain this. They spend so long with the ghost
to not explain anything about the vampire.
The vampire.
And that's the hardest one if you think about it.
Yeah, and okay. How did they get so fucking lucky again that a vampire needed her fang pulled out today, right now?
There's not a good... This section needed a rewrite.
It did.
It needs a rewrite.
Or just cut it out.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was dumb.
Yeah, you could rewrite it out.
It was supposed to be exploring Halloweentown more, getting the ingredients, but it went on for too long for what it was. Okay, so they get the ingredients, and Benny shows up, and he goes, hey, let me give you a lift back home or something, back to Aggie's house. And Sophie goes ooh, he has the bad thing inside of him. She can tell, and he's, making really angry faces, and he starts, yelling at them. Hey, what are you doing? Just get in the car. And then he full-on starts strangling Dylan.
Yeah, which, I'm okay with, but...
It's kind of satisfying. But then Sophie, sees a dog, which apparently they just have normal dogs.
Why?
In Halloweentown.
Yeah. Halloweentown just also has normal dogs.
Yeah. And she's like, go get the bone. And then Benny gets so scared by the dog that he starts driving away. Apparently that worked like a charm. So, whatever. It's dumb. Okay, so then
This movie's dumb.
This movie's dumb.
Talking about it more is making me realize, the parts I want to give it credit for, I'm, just still annoyed with.
Okay, so they go back to Aggie's house to make the potion, and they made the potion, and they put in the talisman, and then Marnie just blanks. She's like, fuck, I don't remember the spell. Which, fair enough.
It was not that long ago, but it was in a different language.
It's a different language. I certainly wouldn't remember it.
She didn't need to think about remembering it.
No, because Aggie was there. They didn't think Aggie was going to go away. And Dylan starts going, what kind of witch are you? You don't even know this spell.
This is one of the most, Dylan just trying to find fault in everything. But of course, Sophie, being the good witch, does remember it because it sounded cool and she made a song out of it. Which also, I don't feel like it sounded the same when she said it.
No, it was the same, I think.
It's just performed differently. But they work together. This is what we get.
Marty goes, well, you memorized it. Let's do it together because spells are stronger together. And okay, so they try once and it doesn't work. And then Marty remembers that if you want a spell to work, you just have to wish that it will or something.
Yep. So she wasn't wanting it to work the first time. No. Because obviously Sophie was.
Sophie wanted it to work, duh.
Also, pulling that pin out, they didn't sprinkle glitter on it.
What?
Was that just for the instant brew?
No. Oh, maybe. Okay, maybe for instant you need some glitter. And when you make it from scratch, glitter not required.
Yeah.
So they try again, and this time it works.
Huzzah.
They could have cut this out and added more to the vampire thing. That's my take on it, but whatever.
They could have cut... Yeah. The movie's honestly not that long. It just feels long.
It's the way some scenes drag on and others are so short. I don't think the pacing...
They needed someone to review the pacing more.
Yeah. Okay. So, also on their way out, Marnie grabs a red cloak.
Yep.
Which is very important later. Okay, so back at the theater, they go back to the theater, and they have the talisman, and it's lit up, and they start just kind of waving it in front of Aggie and Gwen, and it's not working.
And they're like, well, I guess we lose.
Yeah. But then Marnie remembers that Aggie said, mortal see, mortal do, so the mortals have been copying...
They've been doing Halloweentown customs.
Yep. Oh, and she also remembers that Aggie mentioned, installing it somewhere.
Yep.
So she realizes that when you have a giant pumpkin, what do you put in the middle? You put a candle.
Which is, again, it's a nice little clever thing to do with the theme.
I thought that was clever.
No, it's one of those things where they definitely were happy with their plot direction there, and that's something that you could see was developed from the very beginning.
Yeah. So then Marnie goes, all right, I gotta go put in the candle. Dylan and Sophie, you stay here. I'm gonna go do it myself because this is dangerous. And she's about to go do it, and all of a sudden Luke grabs her and he goes, hey, don't go. It's a trap. And...
we haven't seen Luke since he was there watching the parents die.
When Aggie became petrified and stuff. Actually, it was in the theater. When he missed Aggie, another body, a petrified body, kind of fell into the vortex. And Luke was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? You said they weren't going to get hurt." So Luke is now against the evil spooky man because he didn't want anybody to get hurt. He said, like, hey, you promised Aggie wasn't going to get hurt. You just wanted the talisman from her. So now he's helping Marnie because he's scared. And he's like, I didn't want anybody to get hurt. All of a sudden, like, clouds cover the sky. It's very spooky and scary. And Luke goes like he's coming. And there he is. It's Spooky Man.
Which, first off, I want to point out, why couldn't have Marnie just sprinted to the pumpkin at this exact second?
So Luke stopped her.
Yeah, but if Luke didn't stop her...
Well, he said it was a trap.
How is it a trap right this second, though? Because obviously the clouds didn't appear until like 5 seconds later.
She probably wouldn't have done it in time or something.
I agree, she probably wouldn't have done it in time, but it would have been close.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't sprinting, though. She wouldn't have known the urgency of it without Luke. So... Okay, so Spooky Man comes and everyone gathers in town square to like listen to hear him out. And he starts saying that he wants things to go back to the way they were, that they're living in the second-class world and that they should be able to live in the mortal world.
Which, if it's such a second-class world, why did they make it?
Exactly, and everyone is like nodding their heads and agreeing with him.
Are they agreeing or are they just scared?
No, they're agreeing. They're going like, yeah.
So this sounds like when they solve this evil problem, they're not going to be able to rile up the masses to go keep everything the same.
I think that they're just going to listen to anyone that's talking in front of them. They're sheep. They're sheep. They're going to disagree. And then all of a sudden he takes off his spooky disguise and we see that it's Kalabar. What the fuck? And Luke apologizes to Marnie for helping him and he wants to make it right. So Kalabar is up on like a building or whatever. He's giving his speech and he sees a red cloak walking through. Oh, he says he needs help finding the half human. He's like, I need help. And then he sees a red cloak walking through and he goes, there she is. Except he never saw her with that red coat.
Never saw, unless he has spies everywhere, he never saw her be in a red coat.
No. So dumb. But he goes, there you are, and he swoops down. And he goes, give me the talisman. And he starts shooting the lightning. And the person in the cape, who we assume right now is Marnie, is just kind of going like, ow, This lightning petrified people before.
Yep.
And now it's just kind of like a, ouch, ow,
Was he just keeping her alive in theory to torture her?
Maybe. So then he like jumps on the kid and you see that it's Luke. Luke is wearing the red cloak and he goes, fooled ya.
Which also, I want to say this. Why is it just Marnie that's the threat? Because I feel like Dylan and especially Sophie should also be threats here that need to be taken care of.
But don't you get that we're trying to not put them in the action right now so Marty can be the hero?
Yeah.
It's convenient writing.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is one of my favorite parts. And I feel like I can't describe it well, but in my mind, it's like the funniest thing ever is when he grabs Luke and Luke goes, fooled ya. And he goes, what? No. And he turns his head and he sees
a camera whip.
And he sees Marty like climbing up this giant pumpkin. And then she looks back like, oh no. And she, like, continues to climb up the pumpkin.
She's, like, 2/3 the way up this pumpkin.
Yeah.
Turns her head around and goes, just a big, exasperated gasp. And she's like, oh, I gotta go get this in.
Yeah. Just the visual of her climbing up the pumpkin.
It's silly. You can't climb up a pumpkin without looking silly.
When, like, this whole plan, this, like, very clever plan was literally just Luke wearing the cloak while Marty climbs the pumpkin. Like, the visual of it is so funny to me. This is a half-baked plan, but it works, whatever. So he starts shooting his lightning at Marnie.
And he hits.
He hits, and she goes, ow, ouch. Like, again, why is lightning not as powerful anymore?
Is it because it's light outside?
But the clouds.
Yeah, they're convenient writing.
Convenient writing that it doesn't... Well, it never would have killed her because, oh, we're safe, don't worry, we're just frozen in time. But she should have been frozen, like her mom and grandma, but she wasn't. And then they start having the, like, dialogue happening in her head of the flashbacks of, like, oh, you're not a witch. Oh, remember, magic is you just have to want it and it happens. Again, we hear this. So she just kind of drops the talisman, and she probably uses some kind of magic here.
But it just lands perfectly.
It lands perfectly. I think it's her using
It's magic. Probably magic, but yeah, it just lands perfectly.
It lands perfectly into the pumpkin.
And the pumpkin shines out with light. Very dramatic.
It shines on Kalabar probably, and they're like, "Yay, we did it!" And everybody comes back to life. Aggie and
You'd
Gwen.
think that would be the end of the battle.
Yeah, well, okay. Aggie and Gwen come in. They're like, "You did it! You saved us!" And then Kalabar is still there though, and they start yelling at him. And Kalabar starts yelling at Gwen. He's like, "You could have had me. You could have been my queen, and instead you married a human."
Incel behavior.
Yeah. So then he just kind of magic teleport, like Star Wars uses the Force to get the talisman in his hand. Don't know why he didn't do this in the first place.
I pointed this out, and this is true with a lot of the special effects that they do, and it's probably budget and time, but this is the most clear one. When he steals the talisman from the pumpkin and Star Wars forces it to him, it's just so clearly a static PNG image of the talisman being digitally moved in Photoshop by clicking and dragging.
It looks so
off
bad.
the screen. It looks so fake.
It's so funny.
Unbelievably fake. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, so then Aggie and Gwen hold hands and they start saying a spell to stop him, but it doesn't work because he has the talisman now. And he's evil laughing, right? Kalabar is. And then Marnie goes it's going to take all of us because we're all Cromwells. And also Dylan starts getting mad and his fingers start to sparkle. So Marnie goes, "Oh my gosh, you're a warlock. We all got to help."
And Dylan was like, No,
I'm not. And so
I want to be normal. Now
they all hold hands and they start humming. Don't know why they don't need to do the spell anymore. They just start going, and they're holding hands. And then Marnie goes, "Come on, Dylan, you got to help." And then he starts holding hands and he starts going, and then it works. Kalabar fucking explodes. Shit. Okay.
He's totally dead and never coming back.
I'm pretty sure that's true, actually.
There's no chance of Kalabar ever returning and enacting his revenge.
No, actually, I don't think he comes back. It's about his son in the second one.
It's Kalabar.
It's Kalabar with a K now.
Is that the difference?
K for kid. Kalabar, it's Kalabar's son with a K because he's Kalabar's kid. Oh my god. Anyway.
It took the whole podcast for us to figure it out.
Shit, okay. So Kalabar explodes, the talisman goes back to Aggie's hands, and they did it, and the crowd cheers. The crowd are such fucking sheep that they will cheer for anything.
They want to be on the winning team. They're such bandwagoners.
Literally, they were okay with what Kalabar was saying, and now that he's defeated, they're like, "Yeah, good job." What the fuck is going on? Halloweentown.
And now we go for 2 minutes of resolution.
Just like Mom's Got a Date, we have very quick. I feel like a little.
This is longer than Mom's Got a Date because Mom's Got a Date is 30 seconds.
Yeah, it is.
This is 2 minutes, which is still very quick.
Yeah, because they have a lot of stuff to wrap up. So Marnie and Gwen have their little heart to heart of "I'm sorry that we argue all the time, whatever."
Luke and
Marnie goes over to see Luke, yeah. And he has his big nose again and his warts. He's some kind of troll or something. Yeah. And he's like, "This is what the real me looks like. And I'm just so sorry that I did all of that. And, even when I was good looking, I didn't even get to go on a date with you." So they're kind of implying that he did all of the handsome stuff to get a date with Marnie, even though he had never met her yet. It's dumb. She kisses him on the cheek or whatever.
It's dumb.
It's dumb. He's like, "I just wanted to go on a date with you."
All of this doesn't make sense when he did that before he knew of Marnie's existence.
He didn't even know her.
So I think he
wanted a date.
He just wanted the self-image boost, which I guess I understand, and plastic surgery maybe isn't good enough in Halloweentown, but everyone looks like that dude.
I just when she kisses him, he goes, "Wow." And then he goes, "If you're ever in Halloweentown, look me up."
Yep.
She goes, "Okay."
And she does.
Yeah. So then they're going to go back on the bus to go home, and Gwen invites Aggie to live with them.
No. She's like, "Do you want to look over to the kids every Thursday night as a sitter?" And she's like, "I can't come. Obviously, I live in Halloweentown, you doofus." She's like, "Oh, I guess you'll have to live with us full time."
Yep. And Marty goes, "Oh my gosh, yeah."
Can I point out for how fast this resolution is? This doesn't really make sense. They were just brutally angry at each other the whole time. Then got petrified. Even if they could, they have their memories and are there and able to think. They can't see anything happening until their kids save the day.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They like work together to kill Kalabar, so
yeah.
I don't know.
That's enough.
It's an olive branch of like, let's mend this. Oh, and also Gwen says that she herself is going to finish Marnie's training.
She came full around on this.
Yeah. So I think it's just a compromise of like, yeah, let's do Marnie's training, but we're going to do it in the human world instead of Halloweentown. And also, I'll do it myself.
And then they get on the bus to thunderous applause.
Oh, and Luke like runs the bus now. They're like, we have a new job for you, Luke. And so he like is ringing the bell. Maybe he replaced Two-Headed Guy.
Good riddance.
Good riddance. And then they get on the bus and everybody waves goodbye. And everyone in Halloweentown's like, bye, bye.
And that's the movie. We don't see anything else.
Nope, they fly away. And that's it. The end. Halloweentown.
Yep. What
did you think?
I liked it more right after watching it again than I did right now. And none of the times that I'm talking about do I actually like the movie.
I think the biggest thing holding me back is how hyped it is. It's for such little payout. It's
bad because, we may have inverse nostalgia goggles because we hear about how good people like this.
Yeah.
And it's just not that entertaining.
Yeah.
I feel like the most entertaining stuff is before they go to Halloweentown because that's when it's just a so bad it's good type of movie.
Yep.
Where there's a lot of stupidity that's fun to make fun of.
Yep.
When they're in Halloweentown, it takes itself more seriously. It is trying to world build. And what I was saying earlier really holds true. The real issue about this movie to me is focusing so hard on world building, which probably worked better at the time. But if I wanted a movie with like Halloween-y creatures, there are much better looking and feeling options with a better plot that I can go to. I don't have any of them on the top of my mind right now, but
yeah, I just find it so boring.
The characters are not likable for the most part.
Not really. And, like, literally halfway through the movie, the plot hasn't really moved forward. All of the plot happens in the last third, maybe. Probably more accurately, the last fourth of the movie. Because they spend so much time in the world building. Which would be fine if they had a more interesting plot.
And I guess with a 4-movie series, but they didn't know it was going to be a 4-movie series. But
it got so popular.
It's theoretically a good idea to do that, but...
Yeah. And I don't know. I liked the second one better. I think I still hold that true. When we were ranking this as a house, we could not decide which of the first three. We all agree the fourth one is the worst one.
But it was a real even split on the
close.
1, 2, and 3, which is the best.
All voted. There was like 4 of us voting of which one was the best, and we like basically ranked the first 3, and it tied.
Yep.
We dead on tied.
Even 3
Even 3. So I think this one did end up on top. It goes
Halloweentown High.
Halloweentown High. Okay, it went Halloweentown High, then Halloweentown, then Halloweentown 2.
And I understand completely.
Which is like the exact opposite of what I think personally, but it's fine.
They're all close.
Yeah. So Jake House final ranking of the Halloweentown 1 is 93. BenG has it at 95.
Roughly the same spot.
Yep, and I have it a little higher at 88.
Maybe I could bump this up a little bit, but I have this like low D tier, and I can't say it's better than like mid D tier.
Yeah. I think I have it in D tier. Let me look.
Yeah, maybe we're being too harsh on this movie. If we are, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, let us know why you love it. And if it's just for nostalgia, that's fine.
But
you're allowed to.
Tell us what parts you're nostalgic about. I want to know, because people love this movie. Tell us why. Don't
just say it's from your childhood, because you're allowed to like it from that, but I've heard that before, and I want to know what else do you like about it.
Speaking of sending us a message, if you want to send us a message, you can email us at thedcomduo@gmail.com.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
You can follow us on at the DCOM Duo on TikTok, at the DCOM Duo on Twitter.
Yep.
We are on YouTube at the DCOM Duo.
Yep.
So
thank you for listening. Now comes part of the show where we spin the wheel and see what we're watching in the next episode.
Well, first off, what do you think it's going to be?
Oh, yeah, we have to make our bet.
I'm guessing Get a Clue.
Ooh. I'm going to guess Avalon High.
Oh, boy.
Ooh. Okay, let's spin the wheel. It's spinning.
It's spinning.
Oh, it's Hounded.
Hounded.
Okay. That's an interesting one.
Interesting. All right. So
stay tuned for our next episode where we watch Hounded.
Yeah. Hope to see you guys there. If you don't care about the movie Hounded, you can always skip it. But we like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, this one, just a little sneak peek, it pleasantly surprised us.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Next time on the DCOM duo.
Oh, Hounded, there's so many dog puppets.
Oh my god, this dog's just really angry for no reason.
Oh, those kids are kind of funny.
Oh my god, that kid just did something really stupid. Oh, motorcycles.
Motorcycles.
Ah ha ha ha.
Haha.